Welcome to the Armchair Arsenal podcast, brought to you by Hoxton Radio, episode 1. And hopefully what will be like a long-running series. Last time Arsenal won the league back in 2004, I shaved my head, so they said it was going to grow back stronger, and instead I've now got that dodgy marks from hats, and the swimming goggles seem to also protrude into my face that little bit more. But hey, you know, you live and you learn. What a day. What 24 hours. Not even 24 hours as we go to press. It's currently 5:40 in the afternoon, so I guess this time yesterday wasn't on my mind at all. All plans for us winning were, you know, we had to go out on Sunday. We had to go to Crystal Palace, get a result, do the business there, and go and win it in style. Where should we watch it? What pub should we go to? Who's going to bring what? That was kind of all of the discussion. So to be here now, some 20 hours later, as champions, it feels quite crazy. It feels amazing. In the Arsenal Armchair podcast, I guess we're going to salute the people that watch at home, the people that can't always make it to the ground. Maybe you watch in your local pub. Maybe there's a club near you that you go to watch and be part of. Or maybe you're part of a supporters group that's in another region like Denmark or New York City or Milton Keynes. You see the flags all around the ground. So in the podcast, we're going to try and reach out to as many of these groups as possible and speak to some of the members and some of the ringleaders and hear how you consume Arsenal through whatever means possible, be that watching it live, be it watching it again, watching it on your screen, watching it through the window of a shop, which is what we used to do back in the day when we didn't all have tellies and whatnot. So as often as possible, I guess we'll get to the ground when that is possible. But if not, you know, just salute every one of you Gooners out there, because there must be quite a few more than the 60,000 that get to go each week. So momentous day, momentous last 20 hours or so of, I suppose, elation. From all around the community of Islington, who I've been really privileged to have spent the day with today. Got to the ground last night just after the match, which was exceptional. I've just been in and around the club for 22 years and more. So I was lucky enough to remember our last victory, but I was nowhere near as close. I lived out in the sticks at the time. I was in Twickenham over in West London. So I was working at Arsenal back then. I was 21 at the time, and I was working as a barman, and I was getting tickets through my mum quite often. So I was in and out of the ground all the time, and I got to see loads of home matches. But when we won it at White Hart Lane back in 2004, I was out in Twickers in a pub, and I watched it there, and then just went for beers afterwards and sort of celebrated in the local area, which in Twickenham in West London, there's a few token Gooners here and there, but it was not like being in Hornsey last night, and then being at the ground last night, and just those kind of fever pitch scenes that I guess I've not even imagined. I've seen clips of wild celebrations and jubilance, and I've been fortunate enough to have been to a couple of the parades in my time, but to actually be there on the day and experience that, and just people just running out of every crevice, and just people like leaning out of windows, probably not even necessarily Arsenal fans, but just people in the local area, just like a carnival slash when you see scenes abroad of like a political uprising, the so-and-so leader who's been in charge of the country for so many years suddenly gets toppled, and people just run out onto the streets, and they're celebrating and setting off flares and fireworks and drinking and champagne. It was it's crazy. It was just, it's brilliant. Thankfully I haven't come down from it yet. And with the final game on Sunday still to come, and then with the Champions League next week, it's hopefully going to be a week and a half of partying, maybe even longer, because if we go do it in a Champions League, bloody hell. You're tuned to the Arsenal Armchair podcast, brought to you by Hoxton Radio. We asked the guys to get us a nice armchair, and all they could really stretch to was this nice plastic number. So we'll make do. We might come from different spaces. Hopefully, we can come from your supporters group. We can come from your armchair somewhere in the world, and we can hopefully beam to you as well. Let us know, do you have a favourite spot, actually? If you're going to watch at home, do you have like an ideal setup? Is there a chair that you sit in? Do you have like a routine that like you have to make a cup of tea pre-match? Like, do you always drink beer? Do you drink wine? Have you got, I don't know, are there any just little rituals that you have in the house? If I'm watching at home, then I've got a little like Arsenal Camden hat that I always wear. And then fairly often I put on my shirt. Sometimes I put on the scarf. Or just any sort of Arsenal stuff. But it's usually my little Camden hat. And if it's the summer and I happen to be wearing shorts, then, you know, that plus if you've got an Arsenal shirt on and some white shorts, for example, then just put some white socks on as well. You can even be in your slippers and you feel like you've kind of got a kit on. So let us know your little rituals, what you wear, and how the vibe's been going, while we just try and recount some of the, last 24 hours in the world of some Arsenal fans, mainly me. Because I'm the only one here in this abandoned hotel room in East London. And hopefully you viewing along and tuning in. I was at the game on Monday. I was fortunate enough to go. A friend of my mum's couldn't make it along to our last home match, so I got to go, which was bloody nice. And we met up in the Gunners beforehand with a couple of pals one had come in from like Doha in Qatar, one had come all the way from Walthamstow. Like, people had come far and wide. And the match wasn't amazing. Like, it was tense, and I think from the get-go it was fairly jovial, the Burnley match on Monday. And we hit the post with Trossard, and we came close like fairly early doors, and I was still like having a good time because I thought, yeah, we're going to do it. And then Havertz got the goal, and it was like, yeah, we're going to kind of walk it now. But I guess the more the game progressed, the tenser it sort of got. And then towards the end, it was needlessly nail-biting because Burnley didn't really produce too much, but they were getting hold of the ball a bit, and we just weren't. We were controlling it enough, but like we weren't hammering them, and we weren't. The fact that it was just 1-0 meant that we didn't, like, as fans, you weren't like at ease. There was always the worry that something could happen, and then those doubts creep into your mind, and then you start like projecting forward and thinking, oh no, if we draw, then it's all City, and oh, my life's over, and everything's just going to be terrible, and then I guess when you're in the ground and there's just so much like cheering and chaos going on, like you can forget those things quite quickly, and then you get a corner and then another chant pops up. So, and then then at the end they did like a walk of honour, a lap of honour, but like pre to that, Mikel gave a speech, and he was kind of interrupted by everyone in the ground because everyone was singing like the Arteta chant like so loudly that he was stood there with the mic ready, and he had to just wait for everyone to finish, and he was like basking in his own glory, which was so nice to see because he's brought us such immense joy for the last, let's just say he's brought immense joy for the last six plus years. There's been a few tough times along the way, but he's built something really special, and we're all basking in that today. And it was really nice to see him look touched by the chants, because he must hear the chants all the time, but to see him, look around in appreciation, he almost looked like he was welling up a little bit. So, and then the players did a really nice lap of honour, and it was the ground stayed like really full. And the streets were just busy afterwards. I guess we knew we'd done our bit. So, we finished the game. We'd done what we had to do. It wasn't a vintage performance, but 1-0 to the Arsenal. So, yeah, it was all, we'd done as much as we could do. And then plans kind of started to move to, where should we go for the match on Sunday? 12 Pins is charging a tenner, but you get a beer. Gunners is kind of doing something similar. The Tolly, like, we heard people were trying to, like, the Tollington were only sort of selling tickets on the door for Sunday, so they were sort of asking fans to come and get tickets on the door, to then come back on the weekend. And some people were like, why have I got to come all this way to get my tickets? And my mum pointed out, well, you don't have to, because the match is on telly, like, everywhere, so you don't actually have to come to experience it here. But, being in the pub would be fun. I guess then fast forward to Tuesday, and I was just watching clips of the game and just little highlights, and probably listening back to bits of, probably just clips of the game. And I guess the most memorable piece from Arsenal's win against Burnley on Monday was Nketiah. He made a cameo performance in the match, shored up our defence to make sure it finished 1-0 to the Arsenal, was instrumental as ever. But yeah, he goes into like a sliding tackle right towards us in the North Bank, and you almost saw his tackle because his shorts get pulled like pretty much off. He's like facing downwards, so his manhood is covered, but his bum is in full show, and that just seems to be the meme and the reel that's like the takeaway point from the match. So at least, arsing around until the last minute and just putting a smile on everyone's face. So yeah, I guess on Tuesday, I'm just busy at work, watching clips, planning for the weekend. I suppose just got on with my life again, really. And like Arsenal comes up for me all the time. I've got like paraphernalia like dotted around, and there's just bits of stuff all day long that just remind me of this beautiful club. So just kind of got on with it, but it was sort of on my mind. And then went home, had some dinner, and I planned to watch the City match, like sort of on the side. I was with my girlfriend and we were watching just regular telly, and I had the City game on, and they came out all right. They started okay, and then it looks like Bournemouth, they just kind of got into the game, and then their goal was an absolute beauty. And I think from that moment onwards, I thought, something's happening here. Something's like they're gonna, like, I think Bournemouth could do something, but it still hadn't really registered in my head that, oh yeah, if City do not win tonight, that means we're champions. That didn't really filter through. I hadn't processed it, I suppose. And I carried on. I watched till half time, and I thought, shall I just go now? Shall I go to the ground? Shall I just dash out? No, just what if not? Oh, just stay. I only live about 10 minutes away, so just wait. Let's just wait. And then the second half, I was watching it a bit more on my phone, and my battery was starting to go. And this being radio and a podcast, I put the radio on because I listen to so many games, and the commentary team at 5 Live in particular, I see them as my mates, and it was John Murray and it was Ben Upson on commentary for the Man City match. So I listened to the last 10 minutes whilst starting to get changed and put my shirt on. Got my gear on, got myself into gear in my bedroom, and it was just getting nearer to the end, and it was like, oh my God, we're going to do, this is happening tonight. It's actually going to happen tonight. It's happening tonight. So I got my stuff on, kind of waited till the final whistle, and then just bolted for the door, basically. Said to my girlfriend, ta-ra. I said, I'm just going round to the block. I'll be back in a bit. With the plan in my head that I would bicycle to the ground, do a lap, just experience it, and then come home. And then on the way there, my mum phoned me like, come on, quickly, hurry up. And then I'm in Hornsey, so I'm not a million miles away, but like it's not like there's not Arsenal flags and stuff everywhere. There's no like obvious Arsenal pubs. But there was a geezer that was like riding and just like shouting, and there's me on my bike. So we were going up Whiteman Road, which is really hilly, and he was ahead of me. So then I get to him near this hill, and I was like, help him push him up. Meanwhile, cars are starting to drive past and like beep, and then people are starting to come to their windows. And I think I was still listening to the radio at this stage. And I was getting like closer to Finsbury Park, and I thought, no, I want the like real atmosphere. So I took my headphones out, and you could just hear like, I guess like probably horns and sort of noise and sort of cacophony starting to build. And as I get out of Finsbury Park and go to cross like Seven Sisters Road towards the 12 pins, it was just like chaos. It was just wild, and the police were. I thought, oh, this should be fun to ride through. This would be good for Atmos. By this time, like the traffic had come to a standstill, so mixture of people beeping for Arsenal, but just like buses probably beeping as well. So I get to like Blackstock Road to the top end and thought, nah, I'll just go down the side street that sort of runs parallel to Blackstock Road, which is a nice route on my bicycle. And I guess that's when I took it in. I was just sort of by myself then. I could hear the noise everywhere, and there was like odd Gooners everywhere. But that was the moment and I thought, wow, like we've done it. After 22 years, we've done it. After a season of, so obviously highs right now, but plenty of difficult times and a fair few lows along the way. And just, it's not been the prettiest. I think we've all walked away and like left a few matches thinking, oh, I'm kind of glad that's over. So that's when I started to like take it in and just take some deep breaths, and I got a bit teary-eyed, and then I started trying to take a selfie, and that like ruined my moment. It got me out of it, but approached then. That's when I started to try and like get back onto Blackstock Road, and then it was just like mayhem of just like carnival and wildness, and across the road next to I can't remember the name of the pub. It's not the barn. It's right at the bottom, near the flower shop, near the fruit and veg shop, right at the bottom, near the chip shop, just there. And then road up, I think that must be like Gillespie Road. And it was just like carnival from then on, and just people dinging their bells on the bikes, tons of limes just like dinging along, and just people in the streets, just everywhere, just raucous. Then I made my way to the old ground, to Highbury, and then climbed the hill, went down the other side towards like Drayton Park end, and then parked up at the Tesco there. And it was just scenes of just craziness there. Everyone just like, it looked like Tesco was getting ransacked. Just people just coming out, just like loads of beers, and walked towards the ground, and you can see like the massive clock on the outside, and it was just like, wow. Okay, this is happening, and wasn't too busy. Like, it wasn't heaving on the bridge at that stage. Plenty of people, but it was not heaving. And I went to the front, like up in front of the stadium, like upper tier, like near to the armory, with just chants everywhere, people like up and down cheering, and just groups of people going mad, beers going everywhere, like chants, different chants in all directions that I was getting involved in. And I just stood back for a bit and just like watched. I was like, wow. And then I felt a bit lonely because I'd come on my own, and I was going to meet my mum there. And then I thought, oh, should I have brought my girlfriend? Probably should have. Would she have liked it? Oh, I better find me mum. And then my stepdad texted me that they were down at the bottom, by which time like the crowds on the stairs were just... It was just packed. It was like being at a gig. It was like being at a concert. So they text me. Nige said, we're on the step out the bottom. And he sort of took a picture of the armory so I could kind of get a gist of where they were. And I had to just like, I guess, follow people through the crowds initially, and then did my own sort of shimmying. And from my days of indie rock and roll concerts, I've got a little technique where just go sideways like a bit of a crab and just sort of go under people. You sort of go under any little pocket, just find it and go through, and obviously apologise and hug a few gooners on the way. And everyone was in a jovial mood. Then I found my mum and Nige and Mark as well. And we just stood on this bench, just surrounded by fun and partying and carnival atmosphere, and people climbing lampposts, and a lot of football was just getting hurled around as well, which added to the sort of excitement and also a bit of danger. Flares. Lads like climbed on top of the front of the armory, where there's a bit of a, I guess, I don't know, like lean-to alcove that sort of comes out. So that was getting pretty full. And then the police came and like very politely and pleasantly dispersed them from there. And then we footballs were coming from everywhere. So you had to kind of keep your wits about you. And like I was looking around, watching what was behind me, and all of a sudden what was going towards me. So I managed to block it. And we thought after that, oh, let's get out of here. So in order to walk back, we had to kind of go across the roundabout, and that was when it was just like almost like a mosh pit, and then some old school chants broke out like, oh, Santi Cazorla, and a Thierry Henry one, which was beautiful as well. I was trying not to get my trainers too mucky, because, you know, all that beer and nonsense, you don't know what's going on there. Then we walked back around the ground and past Herbert Chapman, and then towards the Drayton pub, and that's where my bicycle was. So then I rode home after that, just with my scarf, and just, you know, every gooner that I saw, I was just elated, really. And then got in and just looked at like loads of pics and vids and stuff, and was just like, oh my god, it's crazy. And got into bed, and like my head was just spinning, and I don't know what, I was just like charged. I just felt like this energy through me. I was tired because I'd been up late the night before, and I'd got up early because my alarm goes off at 6ish. So I was tired from the night before, and I was kind of tired again because it was probably like midnight-ish now, but just buzzing. And just like my whole body was sort of tingling, and I was like lying with my eyes closed, just like seeing all this stuff, and like, oh my god, and then singing over and over again like "We Are the Champions" to myself, which I still haven't played yet, and then managed to drift off and slept pretty well actually, and then woke up at like 5:45 again today, which you can start to see here. And I thought, oh, should I try and go back to sleep? And I thought, nah, let's just get up and get on with it. And I put on the Athletics Totally Football, and it was like an Arsenal special that they'd kind of put out at like 2 a.m. So Duncan Alexander, who's head of like the Athletic, and James Richardson, who's an amazing broadcaster and pundit, and then also Adrian Clark joined them. He like patched in, and it was really nice to hear like esteemed journalists and like proper football panelists discussing Arsenal in like really praiseful ways. It was just nice hearing some other fans' opinions on, not even opinion, just Arsenal like journalists talking about Arsenal in, I guess, an objective way, because most of my views are quite biased. So that was a good start to today. And then there's a little event happening in Islington at the Business Design Centre called the Podcast Show. And just so much Arsenal love in there. There's loads of people with Arsenal shirts on. It's just front of people's minds. I suppose like being in Islington, like it's really obvious, like the degree of separation between like knowing an Arsenal fan. I think it's just the next person. You probably know either your brother or your sister or your mate at work, or it's not even like cousin, second cousin. It's like you definitely know an Arsenal fan, maybe perhaps even more. So just being in Islington today and being at this radio festival, and just being around, because everyone you meet that has an Arsenal shirt, and you can just chat to them and have a little bit of, what did you're just sort of recounting very fresh, new knowledge, new experience, and just people with different sort of shirts on. It's like just bold enough and brave enough to wear them to like a business conference today, which was good. And I reckon tomorrow there's going to be even more. So I might just bust mine out. And then getting back to Hackney just now, and just every Gooner that I see, it's like a little wave and a high five, and they're like, yeah, come on. And there's a geezer in the barber's just now that I just shouted through the window and like waved at him. And he knew. He looked a bit shocked and perturbed, but he knew. And I want to get this season's shirt. Like, I really love the new one, but the one that we've just won the league in is like, that's the one, isn't it? So plus it's kind of on sale right now as well, so it makes sense to get it. So that's hopefully. Well, I need to order it. I'd like to go and get it from the Arsenal shop, but I hear the queues are absolutely outrageous right now. So that's still to come on the Armchair Arsenal podcast, where we, I guess, take a fan's look at what's been happening and like your detailed recounts and accounts of like, I guess what shows you tune into and listen to, what podcasts you listen to, how you consume Arsenal, ideally by going there, but by your life. Maybe sat in an armchair, maybe sat on a deck chair, maybe you're on a beach listening in Hawaii right now. Maybe imagine if you were like on a beach yesterday night, like if you were anywhere sort of Brazil and yonder, you'd have been still daylight when all of that was happening. So shouts to my Rio massive. I see ya. Arsenal Armchair Podcast, episode 1. Feeling a little bit hoarse, feeling just so flipping good. Pleased to be at work and doing a thing that I love today, which is radio and podcast and music, and connecting with so many Arsenal fans, like genuine, but then also people that have been pleased too. There's a Leicester fan that congratulated me. Broadcaster Zoe Ball said, well done. There was another, I think, a geezer that does election coverage was quite pleased for us, whose name escapes me, but I will remember it. I think I'm obviously very biased, but I think, and probably being in North London, it seems that like this football club has a big, makes a positive impact on the community of North London and beyond. So a lot of people in this bit of London think they're happy for us at the moment, and I think I think that 22 years, that's a heck of a long time. It's a long time since anyone in this bit of London, or London as a whole, remembers Arsenal doing this. So and Arsenal does so much in the community and supports so many great and good causes that the club benefits people so much, and now this win has benefited us so much, and hopefully we can share all that back with you. Islington, Harringay, Hackney, Waltham Forest, Tower Hamlets, Camden, and all the other London boroughs and beyond. Armchair Arsenal Podcast, Episode 1. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe, share it with your friend, listen on the sofa or on the couch, and we'll see you next time.